Welcome back to the Victory Education Lounge. I'm your host Maurice, and today we're unraveling a fascinating topic. The inheritance factor sickle cell genetics explained, Part 8. Before we dive into the world of genes and inheritance, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. Your engagement helps us reach more people with this vital information. Imagine your genes as a vast library, with each book representing a different trait. Now, picture one of these books having a slight misprint that changes the entire story. This is essentially what happens with sickle cell disease at the genetic level. Today we're going to explore how this misprint is passed down through generations and what it means for families. Have you ever wondered how a single gene can significantly alter a person's life? Well, it's a bit like a vast library where each book represents a different trait. Now, picture one of these books having a slight misprint that changes the entire storyline. This is, in essence, what happens with sickle cell disease at the genetic level. Understanding this misprint and how it's passed down through generations is crucial. It impacts families, communities, and even populations at large. Today, we're going to explore the fascinating world of sickle cell genetics, demystifying the complex mechanisms behind this condition. We'll delve into the inheritance patterns, the odds, and the role of population genetics, making this seemingly intricate topic a little more comprehensible. So, fasten your seatbelts and prepare for an engaging journey through the labyrinth of genes and inheritance. Let's delve into the genetics of sickle cell disease. Sickle cell disease is a tale of a single gene, the HBB gene. Imagine it as the protagonist in a story with the power to influence the entire narrative of a person's life. This gene carries the blueprint for making a protein called beta-globin. Now, beta-globin might not sound like much, but it's an essential part of hemoglobin, the molecule that carries oxygen in our blood. But what happens when there's a plot twist? In this case, a mutation, or a change in the HBB gene. This mutation changes the shape of the hemoglobin, causing it to stick together and form long, rigid chains. These chains cause red blood cells to become stiff and take on a crescent or sickle shape, hence the name sickle cell disease. Now, sickle cell disease follows an autosomal recessive pattern of inheritance. This is a fancy way of saying that a person needs to inherit 2 copies of the mutated gene, one from each parent, to have the disease. If you only get 1 copy, you won't have the disease, but you will have what's known as sickle cell trait. You won't show any signs of the disease, but you can still pass the gene on to your children. So, what are the odds? If both parents have sickle cell trait, there's a 1 in 4 chance that their child will have sickle cell disease. There's a 2 in 4 or 50% chance the child will inherit the sickle cell trait, and a 1 in 4 chance they won't inherit the gene at all. Interestingly, the sickle cell gene is more common in people whose ancestors came from areas where malaria is or was widespread. That's because having just 1 copy of the mutated gene, or sickle cell trait, provides some protection against malaria. It's a classic example of how environmental factors can shape our genetic makeup over time. Now that we understand the basic genetics, let's see how this plays out in real life. Let's meet the Johnson family. The Johnsons are a family of 6, where both parents carry the sickle cell trait. They have 4 children. 1 has sickle cell disease, 2 have the sickle cell trait, and 1 child has no trace of the sickle cell gene. This family's experience vividly illustrates the odds of inheriting the gene when both parents are trait carriers. Next, we have Maria and John. Maria has the sickle cell trait, but John doesn't. Each of their children has a 50% chance of inheriting the trait from Maria. This scenario underscores that even when one parent is a non-carrier, the sickle cell trait can still be passed down to the next generation. Our third scenario is an unexpected diagnosis. Imagine a couple with no known family history of sickle cell disease. They're surprised when their child is diagnosed with the condition, leading to the discovery that they both carry the sickle cell trait. This highlights the importance of genetic testing and awareness, even when there's no apparent family history. Now, let's consider a diverse ancestry. A man with African ancestry and a woman with Mediterranean ancestry both carry the sickle cell gene. This scenario reminds us that sickle cell disease isn't confined to one ethnic or racial group. It's a global issue affecting various populations. Finally, we have the family planning dilemma. A couple, both carrying the sickle cell trait, seeks genetic counseling to understand their options for having children. They represent the many couples wrestling with such decisions, highlighting the role of genetic counseling in managing genetic diseases. These examples highlight the complex nature of sickle cell inheritance, But what can we do about it? Genetic testing is one of the many tools we have to manage sickle cell disease. This strategy allows individuals to know their sickle cell status before having children. The upside? It provides essential information for family planning. On the flip side, it can cause anxiety and brings up ethical concerns about testing children who can't yet give informed consent. Next up, we have prenatal testing. This method can determine if a fetus has sickle cell disease, which allows parents to prepare for a child with the condition. However, it's not all sunshine and roses. Prenatal testing raises difficult decisions about what to do if the fetus is affected. Plus, it's not 100% accurate, and false positives or negatives can occur. Then there's pre-implantation genetic testing. This is used with in vitro fertilization to select embryos without sickle cell disease. It sounds like a dream come true, right? It prevents the condition in offspring, which is a significant win, but hold your horses. It's expensive, raises ethical concerns about selecting perfect embryos, and is not accessible to all due to cost and regional availability. Last but definitely not least, we have genetic counseling. This provides information and support for individuals and families at risk. It's like having a guide in the complex world of genetics. But like any other service, it has its limitations. Not everyone has access to genetic counseling, and even when they do, it can be emotionally challenging to face the potential realities it uncovers. In the end, it's clear that while these strategies offer hope, they also raise ethical and practical concerns. They show us that the road to managing and preventing sickle cell disease is not a straightforward one. It's a journey filled with tough decisions, ethical dilemmas, and the constant balancing act between hope and reality. We're making progress, yes, but the fight is far from over, and as we continue to explore the fascinating world of genetics, let's remember to treat each other with kindness, understanding, and respect, because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to navigate this thing called life, one gene at a time. Sickle cell genetics is a complex, fascinating field with real-life implications. It's a narrative woven into the very fabric of our biology, a story of inheritance and adaptation. Understanding this story isn't just an intellectual exercise, it's a way to empower ourselves and others. Today, we've journeyed through the world of sickle cell genetics. We've explored the HBB gene, the linchpin of this condition, and delved into the mechanism of autosomal recessive inheritance. We've understood what it means to carry the sickle cell trait, and how the odds play out when both parents are carriers. We've also seen how the sickle cell gene is more common in people with ancestry from malaria-prevalent areas, a testament to our body's remarkable capacity for adaptation. And we've walked in the shoes of different families, seeing the myriad ways this genetic tale can unfold. But the story doesn't end here. We've also discussed potential solutions and strategies, genetic testing, prenatal testing, pre-implantation genetic testing, and genetic counseling all offer ways to navigate this genetic landscape. Each approach comes with its own set of pros and cons, and the right choice depends on individual circumstances and values. Our exploration of sickle cell genetics underscores the importance of understanding our genetic heritage. It's a reminder that our genes are not just abstract scientific concepts, but tangible factors shaping our lives and those of future generations. Knowledge, as they say, is power. It equips us to make informed decisions, offers us control in the face of uncertainty, and enables us to support those affected by conditions like sickle cell disease. It's our hope that this understanding will foster empathy and drive advancements in managing and potentially curing this condition. Remember, knowledge is power. By understanding sickle cell genetics, we can make informed decisions and support those affected by this condition. Before we wrap up, a quick disclaimer. The information provided in this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It is not intended as medical advice. Any health-related decision should be discussed with a licensed physician or qualified healthcare professional, especially if you have existing health conditions or are taking medications. Thank you for joining us in the Victory Education Lounge. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Your engagement helps us create more valuable content and reach those who need this information. Until next time, this is Maurice, reminding you that understanding our genetic inheritance is the first step in taking control of our health destiny.